Okay, so this is a genuinely fascinating story for me to talk about. I'm sure lots of you have seen in the news and on Facebook recently that Ed Sheeran is being sued by two of Matt Cardle's songwriters who are claiming that Ed's song Photograph is a rip-off of the song that they wrote for Matt Cardle called Amazing. As many of you probably already know, I'm a music technology student, and quite a large part of my course involves learning about copyright law and licensing. And I've been seeing a lot about this on social media recently, and so this video is just going to be me talking a little bit about my views on the overall case. So Ed Sheeran's song Photograph was a very successful song. I believe it sold about 3.5 million copies. It's a perfectly nice song, and the dispute is to do with the choruses of that and Amazing. So it's not the whole song, it's just the chorus. And to be totally honest, after listening to the choruses of both of them, they are pretty similar. I certainly think this case holds a bit more water than the one between Justin Bieber and Skrillex and White Hinterland. But again, that was a slightly different issue because I think initially she was claiming they had taken a direct sample from one of her songs and not obtained the licensing for it, as opposed to in this case where the claim is that they've just ripped off the song and just copied the melody, which is pretty much what has happened. I mean, the melodies are like almost identical in the two songs, but that doesn't necessarily mean that anyone ripped off anyone else. As with all pop songs, the chord progressions used are often the same, and these are both mainstream pop songs effectively. So it could be just a coincidence that the two sound the same. I certainly know as a songwriter myself, there have been times when I have unintentionally plagiarized someone else's work. Obviously it doesn't matter for me because I'm not selling multi-millions of tracks, but sometimes as a musician, you listen to so much music and you take it all in. You could be writing a song and there's a melody that comes up or a vocal line or a riff. You arrive at in your head and you think that this is really good, this is a great line, but what you don't know is the only reason that you have come up with that riff is because subconsciously the information has been retained from the previous times you've listened to it. There have definitely been times when I'm halfway through writing a song and I take a break and my iTunes library is on shuffle and I basically hear the same riff that I just put into my own track, and you're just like, oh. So yeah, these things do happen, but the important thing is to realize that if that does happen to you, that you can't then take that idea forward. If you've copied someone else's music, you can't release it. It's not your work. And seriously, I've seen an awful lot of people claiming that the two choruses don't sound like each other at all. They do. I think a lot of people who would say that just don't understand how things like key signatures and time signatures work. Just because one of them is slower and in a different key signature does not mean that the melody is not almost identical. Here's the chorus from Photograph.
So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me closer till our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone.
Here's the chorus from Amazing.
How did you find me? It came out of nowhere like lightning. It's kind of amazing how you found me through all the noise somehow.
If you can't see the similarities between those two pieces, then I don't know what to say. In fact, after listening to those two samples, how would you all feel if I released a song for which the chorus sounded like this?
This is my version of the song sung by Edward Sheeran and Matt Cardle. Can you not hear that? They all sound pretty similar. I'll change a few notes here and there to make it different, changing the key, but can't you see these songs all sound so familiar?
You kind of see what I'm getting at. The melodies are undeniably similar. But that being said, it doesn't mean that it was an intentional and blatant rip-off of the other song. It could have been a total coincidence that Ed Sheeran just happened to come up with a very similar melody. It could have been that Ed Sheeran heard that melody in the past and unconsciously ripped it off. Doesn't make it okay. To be fair, I do think that Ed Sheeran has quite a lot of musical integrity. I don't think he'd be the sort of person to blatantly rip someone else off. But that being said, I don't personally know him. Very few people do. I'm just going to make 3 quick points now to summarize the way I feel about it. Point number 1 is this was not instigated by Matt Cardle. Matt Cardle is an X Factor winner. He doesn't write his own songs. He gets them written for him by people, and it's those two songwriters who have launched the lawsuit against Ed Sheeran. Because so many of these comments I see from these really stupid, like 14-year-old girls seem to say something along the lines of, oh, Matt Cardle's just trying to get attention because he's not as famous as Ed Sheeran. To that I would say Matt Cardle did not instigate this. It was his songwriters, not him. He has in fact come out on Twitter in defense of Ed Sheeran, saying that it has nothing to do with him. Also, trying to say that you're not as famous as Ed Sheeran, you're just trying to get attention, is a totally invalid argument, because There are very few people in the world who are as famous as Ed Sheeran. Seriously, if anyone was claiming that Ed Sheeran had ripped them off, you could just say, yeah, but you're not as famous as Ed Sheeran. You're just trying to get attention. Doesn't work. If you're a global superstar, you're more famous than pretty much everyone. Another point I want to make is that just because someone is famous and successful and seems to, on camera at least, have a really nice personality, which Ed Sheeran definitely does, it does not mean that they are immune from any criticism, and it doesn't mean that they are necessarily a great person. I probably come across as quite nice on camera, but I'm a f***ing twat. This is a big problem with people, and the celebrity culture that we have in general is that Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, any super famous person, no matter how nice they may seem, they are just humans, and they are capable of making mistakes. They're not perfect, no one is. And just because you've seen every interview with him on YouTube does not mean that you have some profound understanding of his personality. It's all too easy these days to buy into someone's personality and not just their artwork. So yeah, that's point number 2. Stop relentlessly defending someone who you don't know. Point number 3, be open to the idea that not everything is necessarily as it seems. Any situation like this, when anyone is being sued for anything, maybe they did actually do it. With that being said, my only opinion on the lawsuit itself is that the 2 choruses do undeniably sound very similar. That does not necessarily mean that Ed Sheeran directly ripped off the song. There are various different factors involved in a case like this. And I think we, as the consumers of these people's art, need to just acknowledge that there are certain intricacies of the industry that we do not have a grasp of. Blindly defending someone you do not know about something you do not know very much about is not a good idea and will not achieve anything. Be cynical. Look at everything from multiple perspectives. There are so many different areas in life that are multifaceted, and I would just encourage everyone to try and look at things critically rather than idolizing people you don't know. Anyway, that's it for this video now. It's been a bit of a ramble, I apologize. I do want to say quickly that I am not condemning or defending Ed Sheeran or Matt Cardle songwriters. The only thing that I can actively acknowledge about this case is that the 2 choruses do sound similar. I like Ed Sheeran, I like Matt Cardle, and I hope that the legal system in the music industry does its job for the best and comes to the correct conclusion to whatever evidence is there. Anyway, I would love to hear what all of you think. Do you agree or disagree with the things I've said in this video? Are you more of a supporter of Ed Sheeran or Matt Cardle songwriters? Let me know down in the comments. I'd be really interested to hear multiple takes on the situation. So yeah, let me know what you all think. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.